Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today I want to talk about my favourite way to play Overwatch, and that is the dive comp. I want to share with you guys how to implement it, why it works, what's required to pick it, and how it may be even better when Roadhog gets nerfed in the coming weeks. The first thing I want to do is answer a question that you guys ask us a lot though, and that is, why is our rank always different in our videos? Well, the reason is because originally we used to 6-stack a lot. We used to give a lot of tips on full team stuff because that's what the game is. It's a team game. But it came to the point where people wanted more solo queue tips, so we started doing that too. What happened was our ranks ended up being all over the place. We have accounts in Grandmasters and Masters and Diamond, and there's this advanced mathematics algebra that you have to figure out in your mind in order to play with your friends. So we simply have multiple accounts so we can play with all our friends and our subscribers alike. We've never used these accounts to abuse smurfing, go to a lower rank, and just wreck people at gold. That's not what they're for. It's simply to play with the right people, learn the right things, and just really play the game together. So the footage I'm going to be showing you guys today is actually 6-stack for the first time in a while, but this can also work in solo queue, and I did a video on that and I'll link it at the end of the video. But of course it's easier to implement in 6-stack, and the teams we're playing against are some 6-stacks, some 5s, some 4s, some 3s. What the game tries to do when you search in a 6, and you guys will have noticed this if you've done it, is the enemy team may not have a 6-stack, but they might have a 5 or a 4, but they will be a much higher rank. So the people we're playing against in these games are going to be Masters and Grandmasters all the way through. There's even a couple of top 500s in there, but this isn't about rolling them. Anyone can roll anyone at the end of the day. From Diamond upwards, there's only these tiny little increments in skill between Diamond and Masters, and then the same between Masters and Grandmasters. And I would argue there's even another level, because some of the Grandmasters are pros, and they really are on another level. So guys, let's get into it. So the dive comp we're running might make some people's heads explode. We're running so off meta, it's insane, but it just works, and I'll go through why. We're not running Ana, and we're not running Roadhog. We're the two most meta picks right now. They're not in it at all. Instead, we have Zen instead of Ana, and we're running Lucio. So that's our two healers. The reason we're running Zen is because our two DPS are flankers, me on Tracer and our friend on Genji. We're also running Zarya, who is kind of an off-meta tank, to be honest, and we're running D.Va or Winston or some variation of that within the games. So why this works is because a lot of people are playing this horrible 3-tank meta, and a lot of people are playing it wrongly in a lot of ways. What triple tank needs to be able to do is the Roadhog get hooks and confirm insta-kills to win the fights, and there is also the shield battle meta too. But if we're just diving them and swarming them from every angle, it's very hard for them to focus any of us. And that's what happens throughout these games. You'll see the Winston initiates, the Zarya will bubble it, the Tracer and the Genji come in from some other angles, and the enemy simply don't know how to deal with it. And these are Grandmasters level players. The reason that they don't know how to deal with it is because everyone's running slow tanks. And a lot of people play Lucio and they won't speed with him. So what happens is they just end up getting split. They try chasing us, they get confused, and for the next 10 minutes or so of gameplay, you'll see we're just rolling through people. Now, the reason this works is simply because we're all around the place, and it's not easy to do this. This isn't something I'm going to say to you guys, oh, just go into a game, pick Genji, and this happens, because it doesn't. And one of the big misconceptions in Overwatch is how one pick is just okay, and it isn't. If you pick a Roadhog, you need a team around it a lot of the time that's going to enable you to get hooks. Now, the biggest example of this is Genji. You can't just go into a solo queue game, pick Genji against quad tank, and it work. It doesn't work like that. You have to pick Zen, Lucio to speed things around, to discord them, something else diving with you to enable you to do that. And someone asked me on Twitter just today, I play in 6-stack a lot, but we keep losing. Are you playing too meta? Maybe you're not better playing off meta, because I know that me and my 6-stack, when we play, a lot of the time 2-2-2 is actually our strongest thing, and that's what we're running in this game for the most part. We're running comps that people don't know how to deal with, because triple tank is great, and we did a discussion about this before. It's so great at the pro level. They do it because it's the best way to play it when played properly, and that is the big thing. Getting passed down through the ranks, people don't actually realize what triple tank means. If you're taking triple tank without a Roadhog, that is a massive mistake. And again, in some of these games I'm showing you, that's what's happening. They even try mirroring us, but it doesn't work because they don't know how to play it. Everyone on my team is good at their hero, and we simply swarm them and completely overwhelm them and dismantle the enemy team with a completely off-meta comp. Now, the reason I want to talk about it right now is because Roadhog is supposedly getting his Hook 2.0 very soon. It's on the PTR right now, and I think a lot of people will agree it makes him worse. Some people say it's not a nerf, it's a fix. But if he's not going to be as good as he originally was, whether it's a fix or not, it's still effectively nerfing him. He's still going to be a lot worse than he was. And since he was the one that really enabled the triple tank meta, along with Ana, who is also getting a slight nerf, the pros may start running different comps again. And I don't think the dive comp will always be the best comp ever. I just think that it's something that will be even more implemented when all of these changes drop. And I'm hoping that when pros do it, it gets passed down the rank again. Because it used to be a little bit annoying where everyone says, we need 2-2-2, which isn't true all of the time. But that was definitely nowhere near as annoying as, oh, we have 3 tanks, pick soldier, there's the comp. It's not fluid enough. And it's good to have these different options available to all of us in order to play the game in a more fun way, rather than just the same heroes in every single game. So I'm hoping that the pros break it down in a new way, and I hope that the next meta we get, sooner than later, fingers are crossed, will be one where counter picking is a thing. So if someone's running a dive comp at you and they're playing it well, it's one of the hardest things to counter. Your options are to mirror it, but not always successful, especially if you're not as good at it. But playing a death ball isn't necessarily bad either, because if you're in a death ball with a few tanks and an Ana healing, the flankers can't possibly do enough damage to you. But in a solo queue environment, the dive comp is so good if you manage to implement one, because the enemy team will be all over the place. How often do you see a soldier or a McCree on the high ground on their own? This is something people will call for all the time in solo queue, but actually a lot of the time you're just off to the side on your own. A decent flanker in a dive comp with a Winston will just come and take your main DPS and it's all over. But if you play that in a death ball, that's one way you can counter a dive comp. But I think the lesson I want people to take away today really is that you don't have to just pick meta all the time. But if you do pick off meta, especially you're trying to go for a dive comp, it has to be coordinated. People need to understand the requirements of what a certain comp means. Triple tank doesn't mean don't take a Roadhog. That's not going to work. Playing a dive comp without Lucio for the most part isn't going to work either. You could try and run Ana Zen and make sure you have Genji, Tracer, Pharah, Winston, people that are going to move around quickly, or D.Va even, but again, that's going to be way harder to implement. Really, you need a Lucio to speed boost. And the same aspect goes for when you're trying to run some kind of a dive comp or even a death ball and you're trying to speed past the choke in solo queue or duo queue and you're not with people you know. A lot of the time, you do just have to drop the Lucio because people don't even know how to use speed boost. Alternately, sometimes it's okay to just go solo healer, but you have to be able to apply these right contexts, and that's something we always try and do in our videos to get across with you guys, to understand not just the meta, but all of the other off-meta picks and situations that can make the game better and make you win more often. For us, we just want to see the game in a place where people really play as a team, and at the minute, we just don't feel like the game rewards team play so much. Once that is a thing, we'll see more dive comps, but we'll also still see triple tank. That's definitely not going away. But a disorganized triple tank will always get dismantled by a dive comp, because I believe, personally, that a dive comp is actually easier to run in a solo queue environment than triple tank is. The thing about the triple tank, which I mentioned in this video, is it's hard to run. It requires certain things that have to be done, and they're more team involved than a dive comp is. Dive comp is simply dive in with your team at the right time. That's one requirement, and the other requirement is just to kill the same target. When you're playing in this big death ball or triple tank, whatever you want to call it, it requires a Rhine usually to be standing at the right place and not getting any damage from the side. So your hog needs to be able to get the hooks on anyone that's flanking or coming near you. It requires your soldier to be in the right place to put out the most damage because he's the only one that is dealing big damage. It requires your D.Va to dive the right target at the right time to disallow the enemy DPS to do damage. It requires your Ana to hit some nice sleep darts and get the right nades off all the time. Admittedly, probably one of the easier jobs anyone has, but even if you're playing this correctly and everyone's playing the roles right, if the Roadhog doesn't get the hooks, all of a sudden triple tank really isn't worth running, and that's the thing, guys. It's just very hard to run. I don't think dive comp's easy either. It definitely requires a different set of skills and maybe even more profound knowledge knowledge of the game on exactly who should dive when and what should happen, but I would say mechanically and definitely in solo queue, it's a lot harder to play with your team, get them hooks, and make sure you also don't lose the shield battle. So guys, the comment section is the place to let me know what you think. Do you want to see more dive comps? All I know is that I want to see all kinds of comps viable so we can flex pick, swap things up. I think it's a lot more fun that way. Be sure to check out our Twitter where we tweet funny things and also some stream highlights. Be sure to follow our stream too where we stream nearly every single day. You can also check out our Discord where there's usually up to 6,000 people at any one time trying to group up with people. Maybe you can find some guys to run a dive comp with and have a lot of fun, because I can guarantee you any aspect of a dive comp, even playing Lucio and just controlling the game with speed boost, is really, really fun. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.